Why does this guy look homeless all the time?
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
My prayer point is, God, please give me the money that people think I have. Cause
amen,
like
brother.
You don't have it,
nah,
right?
but
you go,
everybody's gonna come out.
but you know that's where I was going today.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
it's like, how do we avoid this rat race? Because it may not even be what you want. Yeah, you're good with your 2015. Yeah, I'm good with my 10-year-old car, a 7-year-old car now, you know. However, it's like there's that pressure around us. And yes, we can say all day long that, you know, I don't listen, I don't care about people, but at some point, you know, it does bleed through.
It
does hurt a little bit.
There's a little bit of a, I mean, I'm with y'all, to be honest. If I want a car or if I want something, I'm going to get it because I want it.
Yeah.
Not because I want everyone to think that I look a certain way.
Well, not everybody's like that, though.
I know, but I think within reason. I think a lot of people are going to be like, all right, what's the cutoff point? Like, is it 6 years, 7 years, 10 years? You know, what's the cutoff point to where you feel judged and you feel like, all right, maybe I should upgrade a little bit, even though I didn't care about these things. So it's like, you got to ask yourself, does it make sense to upgrade?
Well, usually when I think about the rat race, ultimately it boils down to one thing. It's externally driven. So in other words, it's the influence. If you think about the billionaires out there, right? I mean, let's be realistic. The type of money that, you know, Bill Gates has and, you know, Elon Musk and all these people, is like, you're never going to spend that much money. But guess what? There's this rat race of, I got to get more, I got to get more. So either I need to catch up to this person or so the person behind me doesn't catch up to me, you know? And a lot of times, you know, it's like a never ending cycle where you're constantly just saying, okay, is it the status? Is it money? Is it fear? Whatever it is, right? And I think at the end of the day, if you're not careful, the human element, you know, sets in, and you really don't really catch yourself doing that.
I think I agree. But
well, can you define what rat race means to you? Because Kate just did that. Let me hear your definition.
I think it's the rat race is when what was the saying last week? Just make sure you're running faster than
your problems.
That's the rat race. Literally, you're running. In my opinion, it's that you get trapped in a cycle of always working to live and living to work and sustaining your lifestyle, but never enjoying it. So you're now living. You're not working hard just to pay your bills, to have the things that you don't really want, but you're already in a cycle and you don't know how to break free of it. Like now you're an employee of the world. Like the world is employing you because they've enticed you with things that you think you want.